Imagine waking up one morning, looking in the mirror, and seeing not the deepening lines of age, but the soft glow of skin that feels truly alive. Imagine bending down to tie your shoes without that familiar stiffness. Imagine not just surviving the passing of years, but thriving in them. That's not a fantasy. That's the science of collagen. And what you'll discover today might completely change how you think about food, aging, and even beauty. Welcome to Daily Elder Advice, the channel where we don't chase youth, we honor longevity. Here, we guide seniors and their families through the practical science, emotional wisdom, and real-life habits that help us age well, not just longer. If you're someone who values staying active, looking vibrant, and feeling your best in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like, and drop a comment sharing what aging has taught you. You're not alone on this path. Because today, we're not selling you magic creams. We're going back to the kitchen, and we're unlocking 6 powerful foods that restore your body's most essential support system, collagen. So stay with me. From scientific revelations at Harvard to heartwarming stories from real seniors who took control of their aging journey, this episode will change how you age, eat, and think about your skin, joints, and vitality. Chapter 1: Gelatin, the forgotten fountain of youth. When most people hear the word gelatin, their mind jumps to desserts, maybe Jell-O, or something served in hospitals. But hidden beneath its humble appearance is one of the most underrated sources of collagen support known to modern science. Gelatin is essentially cooked collagen, extracted from the connective tissues, bones, and skin of animals. When these tissues are simmered long enough, they release their precious collagen, which, when cooled, transforms into gelatin. But what makes it so powerful? According to a 2015 study in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, gelatin, when consumed regularly, can improve skin elasticity, joint mobility, and moisture retention in the skin. This happens because gelatin is rich in glycine and proline, 2 amino acids absolutely essential for building and repairing collagen fibers in the body. But here's the part that most people overlook. While many supplements isolate collagen peptides, gelatin provides a broader spectrum of nutrients in their more natural, synergistic form. That means your body doesn't just receive the building blocks, it gets the architectural blueprint and the raw materials, all in one. My take? Gelatin is the pre-digested form of collagen, and for aging bodies with slower digestion and absorption, that matters. Dr. Kate Shanahan, a physician known for her work on ancestral diets, once said, "If collagen is the glue that holds your body together, then gelatin is the accessible superglue your body understands." So why aren't more seniors using it? Because modern diets have abandoned slow cooking, bone broths, and homemade foods, the very sources that once nourished collagen production for generations. Instead, we've leaned on quick meals and creams that promise youth from the outside. Real-life story: Barbara's tea time transformation. Barbara was 67 when I first met her, a retired schoolteacher from Minnesota. Cheerful but clearly discouraged by her persistent joint discomfort and dry skin. "I'm doing everything right," she told me. "I stay active, eat clean, but my knees hurt every morning and my skin, it feels like sandpaper." She didn't want injections or expensive creams. What she wanted was resilience, from the inside. So I gave her one simple challenge. For the next 3 months, stir a teaspoon of grass-fed gelatin into your morning tea, nothing fancy. Just consistency. She was skeptical. That's it? But she tried it. By the end of the first month, her knees were less stiff. By month 2, she told me, "I don't know if it's the tea or the gelatin, but I feel more fluid." And by the end of month 3, her skin had a visible glow. And even her husband, who never notices anything, asked, "Did you get new moisturizer?" She didn't. Barbara simply nourished her collagen from the inside out. No hype, no chemicals, just 1 scoop a day, stirred into her morning ritual. Her story reminds us, transformation doesn't require dramatic change, just daily devotion to the right habit. Here's the often ignored truth: as we age, our body's natural ability to synthesize collagen slows dramatically. By age 60, collagen production can decline by more than 30%. leading not only to wrinkles and sagging skin, but also weaker joints, slower wound healing, and gut issues. What gelatin does is supply the raw collagen matrix, already broken down and easier to absorb, allowing seniors to bypass some of the digestive decline that naturally comes with aging. In fact, a lesser-known benefit is how gelatin supports gut lining repair, which can be crucial in preventing nutrient malabsorption, a silent issue in many older adults. When gut health improves, everything improves, from energy levels to skin clarity to cognitive sharpness. And it all starts with something as simple as a scoop of gelatin in your tea. Practical advice: how to use gelatin daily. Choose grass-fed, unflavored gelatin powder. Avoid brands with artificial colors or added sugar. Stir 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon into hot beverages like tea, bone broth, or lemon water. Use it to make homemade fruit gummies with pureed fruit and honey for a collagen-boosting snack. Add it to soups, stews, or even oatmeal as a thickener with benefits. So if you're looking for a simple, affordable way to restore your skin, joints, and vitality, don't overlook the forgotten fountain of youth sitting quietly in your pantry. Chapter 2: Bone Broth, Liquid Gold for Aging Joints and Skin. If gelatin is the forgotten gem in your pantry, then bone broth is the golden elixir your grandmother swore by, and science is now catching up. Bone broth is made by slowly simmering animal bones, ligaments, and connective tissues, often for 12 to 24 hours, until the nutrients inside are released into a rich, nourishing liquid. It may sound rustic, even primitive, but what it delivers is nothing short of remarkable. According to a 2019 article in the journal Nutrients, bone broth is naturally rich in hydrolyzed collagen, which helps replenish the skin's structure, chondroitin sulfate, known to ease joint pain and reduce inflammation, hyaluronic acid, a powerful skin hydrator and joint lubricant. But what makes bone broth particularly special is its bioavailability. The collagen in broth is broken down into peptides and amino acids that your body can absorb more easily, something older adults especially benefit from due to declining digestive efficiency. It also contains trace minerals like magnesium, phosphorus, and calcium, making it a nutrient powerhouse for seniors, particularly those with brittle bones or degenerative joint issues. Now let's add some perspective. Unlike collagen supplements, which are often processed and isolated, bone broth delivers these nutrients in a natural synergistic matrix. Exactly how the body evolved to use them. And unlike anti-aging creams that sit on the surface of your skin, bone broth works from within, where real change happens. In my view, bone broth isn't just a food. It's ancestral medicine in a mug. Why bone broth works especially well for aging bodies. The magic of bone broth lies in its slow extraction process, which mirrors how nature intended nutrients to be released. This is especially important for seniors who struggle with protein digestion, experience collagen degradation in joints, skin, and muscles, need higher levels of joint protective compounds like glucosamine and hyaluronic acid. Studies show that after age 60, the cartilage in joints becomes thinner and more brittle. But a 2017 review in osteoarthritis and cartilage found that collagen supplementation, particularly from natural sources like bone broth, can reduce joint pain by 20 to 30% in older adults. Also, bone broth is naturally anti-inflammatory. The glycine and glutamine in it help balance immune function, promote gut healing, and reduce systemic inflammation, all crucial for slowing the aging process. And there's an emotional element too. Bone broth is warm, comforting, and easy to digest. For seniors who often lose appetite or struggle with complex meals, this makes it a gentle yet powerful solution. How to make and use bone broth. Here's how to bring this liquid gold into your life. Bones to use: chicken, beef, turkey, fish, ideally from grass-fed or organic sources. Recipe: add bones to a pot with carrots, onions, celery, garlic, and herbs like thyme and bay leaf. Crucial tip: add 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to help extract minerals from the bones. Simmer for 12 to 24 hours on low heat. Strain and store in glass jars in the fridge. Lasts up to 5 days, or freeze for longer. Use it as a warm drink in the morning or evening, as a base for soups, stews, or risottos. Mixed with herbs for a healing, sipping tonic. Pro tip: add a pinch of turmeric and black pepper for additional anti-inflammatory benefits. Aging isn't just about what we lose, it's about what we forget to restore. Bone broth gives us back what fast food, modern stress, and nutrient-depleted diets have taken away. If you're ready to take the first step in repairing your joints, rehydrating your skin, and feeling more grounded in your body, bone broth might be your best companion. Not bad for something our ancestors made from kitchen scraps. And before we move on to the next chapter, let me gently remind you, if you found even one useful insight so far, there's so much more still to come. In the second half of this video, we'll talk about how eggs affect your blood sugar, your heart, your physical strength, and even the science behind why they might help you live longer. If you're enjoying this journey, please take a second to click the subscribe button. It means the world to us, and it helps more people like you discover life-changing, age-wise advice. And I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned so far that surprised you? Leave a comment below with the number of the chapter that resonated most. Let's keep learning from one another. Chapter 3: Egg Whites, a budget-friendly collagen booster hiding in plain sight. Eggs have always been a symbol of nourishment, but when it comes to supporting collagen production, it's the egg white, not the yolk, that deserves the spotlight. Egg whites are an exceptionally rich source of proline, an amino acid essential for collagen synthesis. According to a 2018 study published in Dermatoendocrinology, proline plays a central role in forming the triple helix structure of collagen, the tightly wound protein that gives your skin elasticity, your joints mobility, and your tissues strength. But what makes egg whites truly impressive isn't just their proline content. It's their bioavailability, how easily the body can absorb and use what they provide. For older adults who may experience reduced digestive efficiency, this is critical. Egg whites are also low in calories, high in protein, free from fat and cholesterol, and easy to prepare in countless ways. Unlike many collagen supplements, which can be expensive and processed, egg whites are a whole food, affordable, accessible, and packed with the raw materials your body needs to rebuild its own collagen naturally. And here's something most people miss: proline doesn't act alone. It works in synergy with vitamin C, glycine, and zinc, all of which are easily added to your diet with a little planning. Think of proline as the brick, and these other nutrients as the mortar that holds the collagen structure together. In my experience, egg whites are one of the most overlooked beauty and mobility foods for seniors. No fancy labels, no anti-aging claims, just honest nutrition your body can use. Why egg whites work especially well for seniors? As we age, the body's collagen building machinery slows down, but it doesn't shut off. What it needs is the right input, and egg whites provide just that. Proline, the structural amino acid. Albumin, a protein that helps rebuild tissues. And a highly digestible form of protein critical for muscle retention, especially in older adults. Aging bodies also need protein in the morning to stabilize blood sugar, support cognition, and prevent muscle wasting. Egg whites are one of the most efficient and clean ways to meet this need, without the heaviness or fat that sometimes accompanies other protein sources. And for seniors dealing with joint pain, thinning skin, or brittle nails, this small dietary change can support the collagen matrix that underpins all those systems. This is not just about appearance, it's about integrity. Skin integrity, tissue strength, cellular repair. How to use egg whites in daily life. Here are simple, effective ways to get your collagen-building dose of egg whites. Daily dose: 2 to 3 egg whites per day. Organic, pasture-raised eggs provide higher nutrient density. Add them to omelets with spinach, vitamin C boost. Protein pancakes with banana and oats. Scrambles with garlic and bell peppers. Smoothies, if pasteurized. Tip: Pair your egg whites with citrus fruit or a small salad. The vitamin C enhances collagen production from proline. If you're sensitive to eggs, you can use pasteurized liquid egg whites sold in cartons. Just make sure there are no additives. And no, you don't need to throw the yolk away. Use it in another meal. The yolk is rich in choline, which benefits brain health. Chapter 4: Garlic, Nature's Collagen Guardian. Garlic is often celebrated for its heart protective powers, anti-inflammatory properties, and immune support. But what if I told you that garlic is also a silent defender of your collagen? Yes, this humble bulb, often crushed and sautéed without a second thought, contains some of the most potent sulfur compounds that help maintain and preserve collagen structures in the body. At the core of garlic's power is a compound called allicin. When garlic is chopped, crushed, or chewed, it activates an enzyme reaction that produces this bioactive compound. And here's why it matters. Sulfur is a key building block of collagen. According to research from the University of Oregon, allicin and other sulfur-containing compounds in garlic contribute to stabilizing collagen fibers, preventing breakdown, neutralizing free radicals, which accelerate collagen degradation, boosting blood flow, which supports skin and tissue regeneration. But garlic does more than just protect collagen, it extends its lifespan. In a world filled with environmental toxins, processed foods, and oxidative stress, we need internal guardians, and garlic steps up to that role. And yet, how many people over 60 are actually using it daily? Sadly, garlic has been reduced to a seasoning instead of celebrated as a therapeutic food. Let's change that, because garlic isn't just flavorful. It's foundational for healthy aging. Why garlic works especially well for seniors. As we age, collagen breakdown accelerates, but our body's ability to protect and replenish it slows. That's where garlic becomes powerful, not just as a nutrient source, but as a metabolic shield. Here's what garlic offers seniors. Allicin fights oxidative stress, the #1 enemy of collagen. Sulfur compounds, crucial in the formation and cross-linking of collagen fibers. Blood flow enhancement, supports oxygen and nutrient delivery to skin, joints, and connective tissue. Anti-inflammatory effect, reduces tissue damage that breaks down collagen. Additionally, garlic contains taurine and lipoic acid, both of which help rebuild damaged collagen fibers and improve tissue repair. In short, garlic is nature's way of slowing the unraveling of time, especially in your skin, joints, and connective tissues. How to use garlic for collagen support. Let's get practical. Here's how to turn this everyday spice into a longevity tool. Use 2 to 3 cloves daily for full therapeutic effect. Crush or chop garlic and let it sit for 10 minutes before cooking. This activates allicin. Cook gently. Overcooking can destroy its active compounds. Combine with olive oil, leafy greens, bone broth, or roasted vegetables. Flavor combo tip. Garlic plus turmeric plus black pepper equals a powerful anti-inflammatory trio for collagen protection. Garlic can also be fermented into black garlic, which has higher antioxidant levels and a mellow sweetness, ideal for seniors who struggle with garlic's strong flavor. Chapter 5: Spirulina, the ocean's secret for youthful skin and hair. When you think of anti-aging superfoods, your mind might go to berries, green tea, or olive oil. But there's one natural powerhouse most seniors overlook, and it doesn't grow in a garden or on a farm. It grows in the ocean. Spirulina is a blue-green algae that's been on Earth for over 3.5 billion years, older than dinosaurs, older than trees. And inside this ancient organism lies a treasure chest of collagen-boosting nutrients that modern science is only beginning to appreciate. A 2020 study published in the journal Marine Drugs revealed that spirulina contains glycine and proline, the amino acids that form the collagen framework; copper, a mineral that strengthens collagen bonds, cross-linking; phycocyanin, a unique antioxidant that protects existing collagen from oxidative damage; gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, a rare anti-inflammatory fatty acid that supports skin hydration. Unlike many plant-based foods, spirulina delivers these compounds in high concentrations, making it one of the most efficient and complete tools for natural collagen production, especially for seniors who are no longer absorbing nutrients as efficiently. But it's not just about collagen. Spirulina also supports hair strength, nail growth, brain function, detoxification through chlorophyll and other trace minerals. And here's the best part, you don't need much. Just 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon a day can deliver measurable benefits over time. But there's one caveat: the taste. Spirulina has a strong marine-like scent and flavor that can be off-putting. But as you'll see in the story below, those who stick with it are often amazed by what changes. Why spirulina is ideal for older adults. As we age, our cellular turnover slows down. Our skin loses moisture, our hair becomes thinner, and collagen production drops, sometimes by as much as 30 to 40% in our 60s. Here's where spirulina shines. It supplies the raw amino acids, glycine, proline, to build new collagen. It offers copper, needed for collagen cross-linking. Think of it as the glue. It protects against free radical damage, which is a major cause of collagen loss. Its high levels of B vitamins and iron also support better circulation, which brings oxygen to the skin and scalp. Even better, spirulina is easy on digestion, making it a smart choice for seniors with gut sensitivity. Its high chlorophyll content also helps detoxify heavy metals, which can otherwise burden organs and accelerate aging from the inside out. In short, spirulina is a one-stop nutritional upgrade for anyone over 60 looking to revitalize their skin, joints, and hair, naturally and efficiently. How to take spirulina daily. To make spirulina part of your collagen boosting plan, start small, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon daily. Blend it into citrus-based smoothies, orange, pineapple, lemon, to mask the taste. Pair with vitamin C for enhanced collagen absorption. Always choose organic, third-party tested brands to avoid contamination. Flavor trick: add fresh mint, frozen mango, or vanilla extract to your smoothies. It reduces the marine taste significantly. Spirulina also comes in capsule form, but powder is often more bioavailable and allows for better integration into meals and drinks. Aging gracefully isn't just about holding onto what you had. It's about building something new, from the inside out, even at 60, 70, or 80. So if you're ready to fortify your collagen, nourish your cells, and bring a little ocean magic into your day, don't overlook spirulina. It may be small, but it's mighty. And sometimes, the most powerful things in life are the ones we almost ignored. Chapter 6: Pumpkin Seeds, Tiny Giants of Collagen Repair. Don't be fooled by their size. Pumpkin seeds may be small, but they are powerful allies in the battle against aging. Packed into each crunchy seed is a treasure trove of zinc, magnesium, iron, and healthy fats, all of which play a direct or indirect role in collagen production and skin repair. In fact, among all plant-based foods, pumpkin seeds are one of the richest natural sources of zinc, a crucial mineral for maintaining the structural integrity of collagen. A 2017 study in the journal Biomolecules confirmed that zinc acts as a cofactor for the enzymes that stabilize and form collagen fibers. Without zinc, your body may struggle to heal wounds, repair damaged skin, maintain skin elasticity, prevent premature sagging and wrinkling. Zinc deficiency is surprisingly common among older adults, especially those over 60, and because the body doesn't store zinc, you must get it daily from your diet. But pumpkin seeds offer more than just zinc. They also contain vitamin E, which protects collagen from oxidative damage, omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, which keep skin hydrated and joints flexible, phytosterols, which help reduce inflammation. This unique nutritional profile makes pumpkin seeds an incredibly efficient, plant-based food for anyone seeking to slow the aging process from the inside out. And best of all, they're tasty, portable, and incredibly easy to use. Why pumpkin seeds are especially powerful for seniors. As we age, the body's ability to repair skin and synthesize collagen slows significantly. At the same time, common age-related issues like poor appetite, reduced mineral absorption, and medication interference can lead to micronutrient deficiencies, especially zinc. This leads to slower wound healing, increased skin irritation, weaker collagen structure, increased risk of inflammation and skin infections. Pumpkin seeds provide a highly absorbable form of zinc, without the side effects of synthetic supplements. They also offer magnesium for muscle and nerve support, iron to support oxygen flow to skin tissues, healthy fats that nourish the skin barrier and prevent dryness. Together, this trio of nutrients forms a collagen repair system your body recognizes and can utilize efficiently. They're also rich in protein, with just a handful providing around 7 grams, making them an ideal snack for older adults who need easy-to-digest sources of plant-based protein. Practical guide: how to eat pumpkin seeds for collagen support. Adding pumpkin seeds to your life is both easy and enjoyable. Eat 1/4 cup daily, about 30 grams. Lightly roast them with a touch of olive oil and sea salt to enhance flavor. Sprinkle them on morning oatmeal or porridge, yogurt bowls with fruit and honey, fresh salads for crunch and nutrients, blended trail mixes or homemade granola. Pairing tip: combine pumpkin seeds with vitamin C-rich foods like strawberries or bell peppers to maximize zinc absorption and collagen activation. If chewing is difficult, grind pumpkin seeds and mix into smoothies or soups. They'll still deliver the same collagen-supporting benefits. In the vast world of anti-aging advice, pumpkin seeds rarely get the spotlight. But for older adults, especially those seeking to revive their skin, speed up healing, and nourish collagen from within, these little seeds are giant heroes. As we come to the end of this journey, I want to leave you with something deeper than just a list of foods. What we've explored today: gelatin, bone broth, egg whites, garlic, spirulina, pumpkin seeds, these are not just ingredients. They are invitations. Invitations to remember that your body still responds to care. Invitations to believe that it's never too late to rebuild what time has worn down. Invitations to age not in fear, but with purpose, dignity, and wisdom. You see, aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means refining. It means listening more closely to what your body needs, and giving it exactly that. Every wrinkle you carry, every ache in your joints, every change in your skin, they're not signs of failure. They are the stories of a life well lived. But that story isn't over. With every bite, every warm broth, every sprinkle of seeds, you are still writing your next chapter, one that says, "I choose to nourish, not neglect. I choose vitality, not resignation." So here's my gentle challenge for you. Go back to your kitchen, look at your habits, look at your meals, and ask yourself not, "What do I want to look like?" but instead, "How do I want to feel as I grow older?" Because feeling whole, strong in your bones, confident in your skin, and grounded in your energy is the greatest kind of beauty there is. If today's message touched your heart, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel Daily Elder Advice, and share it with someone you care about. Because this isn't just about collagen. It's about reclaiming control of how we age, with knowledge, with nourishment, and with love.